Hi, using my Carey Smart Canner, and we are going to do pulled pork. I have a pork butt here, and all I'm going to do is season it up. I've used celery salt, onion powder, fresh pepper, paprika, garlic salt. I'm going to use about a cup of Actually, I'll probably use 2 cups of chicken broth only because this is a very big pork butt. And I did have to cut it only because I want to be able to fit it in here like a puzzle into the canner and having it one large piece. So imagine this cut and pushed up just a little bit more, but I mean, it still took almost this whole tray up. And so I did feel the need to have to cut this pork butt just to make sure we can kind of fit it in the Carey Smart Canner. What I need to do is go ahead and flip all these pieces over, rub some seasoning on the other side, and then I'll show you what else we're going to do. Okay, everything's got a nice good rub to it. So let's put this puzzle in to the canner and then add the liquid and get this puppy started. I am going to add just a little bit of apple cider vinegar. The apple cider vinegar will actually help cut any of the fat and any, because this does have a bone in it I had to cut around. It will kind of help get some of that tendony, fatty bone and stuff off. What we're going to do is, I think that'll work. This piece is sticking up just a little bit, but with pressure cooking it and then putting it into a crock pot, it'll be fine. So don't be afraid if it's not completely so, but this is why I had to cut it. Let me get a little higher here. I wanted to try to get it as pieced together in a good puzzle aspect as I could to get it all in onto the cooking surface and kind of get it all as even as possible. So I'm going to pause you guys for a second and get everything else added, and I'll be right back. Okay, we're just going to do a couple tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. We're not making southeastern Carolina barbecue, so I don't want a whole lot of vinegar in there. Any liquid that's in here when this gets ready to be cooked will be drained, and then we'll pull the pork afterwards. Go light on any salts that you might use because I am using chicken broth in here, and that tends to be, unless you get the lower sodium or no sodium versions of broth, it does tend to have a lot more taste as far as salt goes. So you want to be careful. If I used a little bit of garlic salt, a little bit of celery salt, but if you're using salts versus powders, then just be careful with the amount of salt that you're using. I used more pepper than salt, and I used very little of the celery and very little of the garlic salt when I did the butt. And that's only because you don't want to overkill this and have everything taste freakishly salty, because pork is naturally salty on its own. And so you do have to remember that as you cook any type of pork. So I'm going to go ahead and get this started. Let me get it set up. I'll show you what I'm going to set this on. And for tomorrow before Super Bowl, I will show you what this turns out like. Okay, let's get it set up. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to pressure cook. So we're going to go ahead and hit the pressure cook part of this. I'm going to go ahead, and I think what I'm going to do on time is, because I am going to cook this in a crock pot as well, let's do 42 minutes, even though this is very big. But I think that'll be fine. And what I want it to do is be tender when it comes out, which is why there's all the extra liquid in there. I normally would not put this much liquid in, but I want to be able to separate the fat and the meat, and there's bone, and so I just want to be able to literally put this in a crock pot and cook it for a little bit and not necessarily worry about the crock pot doing the cooking. I want my Carey to do the hard work before we do anything else. So I'm going to go ahead and hit start. I'm going to have to make sure that I am pressure cooking, so we're going to have to make sure the exhaust at the very top is set. and I did not braise. In a past video, I talked about braising. I can put a card as far as what is braising after I upload this. But if you were making a roast, you would braise. But at this point, we're actually going to pull the meat, so we don't want to harden the outside surface to lock in juices, because we're going to pull everything apart and literally make a, you know, a loose meat sandwich. So I didn't do any braising, literally. And one other hint that I want to talk to you guys real quick about is what I did was when I got ready to cut this, because working with the blood and the germs from the meat, when I took this out of the freezer, I put it on the baking sheet while it was still wrapped in the store-bought packaging. But before I cut the packaging, I went ahead and lifted it up. I put my cutting board in, and then I cut the package and then laid the meat here. And then that way I'm able to control all the blood, and it'll just make cleanup of my kitchen counters and worrying about germs a whole lot easier. But anytime you're working with raw meats, try not to have the kiddos around, try not to have them eating cookies, and then just try to make sure that you're doing a good cleanup with hot soapy water and or a bleach cleaner. And if you're one of those Mrs. Myers fans, not knocking it, you can also use vinegar and water. Anything you want to use is fine. Just make sure that you're using hot soapy water or, you know, warm vinegar and water, and cleaning up all the mess. So I'm going to go ahead and just end this video, going to go ahead and post it, and then I will show you guys the pulled pork when it comes out of the canner, and show you guys how we're going to go ahead and tear it up and get it into a crock pot. Okay, so hope this actually gives you a good start. I'll be posting this other video here either today or tomorrow with a finished product, and then that way I don't have to have a 20-minute video. So there you go, guys. Carey Smart Canner, here we go with pulled pork for Super Bowl. Have a great one. Talk to you guys soon. Hit like, hit subscribe, and please share and help me grow my channel. Bye.